Let me see. You're live. All right. So, good evening, everyone. This is your boy, Matt D. Talford. You guys know me. I'm a nonfiction author. I'm also an amateur sports analyst. And, a lot of you, first of all, I want to thank you all that chimed in and left comments on the video recap that I did a couple of days ago, where I told you why I thought one judge got the fight right. And originally I titled that video, why the judges got it right. But I had a guy hit me up on the comments and say, Matt, you know what? To be exact, only one judge ruled it a draw. One of them ruled it for Deontay Wilder. The other ruled it for Tyson Fury. So anyway, I'm going to get popping this thing here. And I got a very, very, very special guest for you guys tonight. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with me present tonight, work schedules and that sort of thing. Plus, we got some bad weather here in the Charlotte area tonight with some just nasty cold rain, the kind of stuff you don't want to come out in after the sun goes down, once you get off work and everything. So those of you that live in metropolitan areas, I think you can understand that. If you don't have to get on that road, you don't do it because, some people think that we're in NASCAR country. You know what I'm saying? We're in NASCAR country, and some people think that they can get in there, get behind the wheel, and do NASCAR. But anyway, without further ado, my man Steph B, that I promised you in the preview earlier today, is with me via telecon. So I got him on speakerphone. He's dialed in. Steph, why don't you say what's up to the people?
Hey, how y'all doing, man? What's going on with you? Everything's all right, big brother?
I hope so, man. I hope so. Listen, I'm going to see if I can switch this over because I don't know if it's going to get picked up or not. Steve, say something again for me.
I said, how you doing, everybody? Everybody good, man? How you doing, Mr. Tal?
Okay, I'm doing well. All right, so I got this thing. Hopefully the microphone is going to pick it up. But let me send this link out really quick to a friend of mine here and let him know that we're on here doing this thing. So let me send this out to stay with me because a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about this fight. And Steph, you and me talked about this at length last night, and you agreed with me on the decision, but we came about it in a different manner. So I want you to let the people know. Now, right now, it doesn't look like we got any viewers, but guess what? These people are going to be coming in, and if they don't, this is any live video that you do on YouTube always comes back and it gets saved there. So anybody can come in and chime in later. But anyway, Steph, and we also, I may be able to get a very good friend of mine, retired professional welterweight boxer. Steve, you met him, Mr. Jared. Gosh, what's his nickname? You know what? I got it. Jared, the Quiet Storm Robinson. The Quiet Storm.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my man. He's in the Charlotte area, and he's working with young fighters, and he runs a little gym out there that he trains fighters with. I shouldn't say little gym. I don't like that word little. That's a bad one to have in my vocabulary, and I'm trying to get out moving forward for 2019 because ain't nothing little. If you're doing it, it's big. So
that's right.
So he's got this gym out there, Steph, and we met him. He's a cool dude, very smart, very analytical, and guys like you and me, Steph, we like to talk to guys like him because Steph, you know, a lot of guys out here fight fans, but they're not analysts. They talk about that.
This is true. It's a major difference. It's a major difference in between being a fan and actual analyst. With that being said, it's like some of us choose. It's a combination of what you actually got to use. And yes, you have to use your coffee box numbers for one. Then you have to use the Queensbridge rules for two. Queensbridge, I'm sorry.
Right,
you have to use that for two. Okay, and then it's the other one that I sit back and use. It's my own personal one, and you can use it in football or whatever the case may be. It's called the actual eye test.
The eye test.
You know what I'm saying? The eye test. That's just actually what you see and what you honestly want to believe, and what in your mind, what you really want to believe, and what you actually sit back and see. See, sometimes they'll tell you, the aggressor wins the fight, but the aggressor has to win the fight with a certain kind of combination, meaning that you have to land some punches. You got to know how to slip some punches. You know what I mean? You got to know what a real feint. We got to know ring awareness. You got to know what a feint move is all about. So that's the difference between an analyst and a fan, because a fan just wants to see somebody get beat up and knocked out, get cut up. You know what I mean? That's not the fight game.
Woo,
not the fight game.
you're preaching, bro. You're preaching. You're preaching.
That's really not the fight game. It's a chess game, a physical chess game. That's what fighting is all about. But alongside of that, man, let me go ahead and give a shout out to you before we really get deep into this thing, man, because you got some good stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I reached out to you and you reached back, and so I can sit back and speak on this Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder fight, because there was some stuff that was going on in there that needs to be talked about. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, no doubt. And listen, so what I did was I just shot a text to my man, Quiet Storm, and hopefully he's able to log in. And he told me he has some stuff going on, but he may be able to log in. I would love for him to log in and let me know if he's picking up your audio. So let me do this. Hey, you know what? Let's go sideways for a minute, because I don't want to get too heavy into this boxing thing just yet. I want to make sure that the people out there can hear you coming through this phone, because if they can't, I got another apparatus by which I'm going to bring you through to bring that volume up. So here's what I'm going to do. I want you to just, while I'm working on some technical stuff, Steph, I want you to talk to me about the state of the NFC East just for a minute. This just as a side, we're going to go down a side street, but we're going to get back on the main road in just a minute. So just talk to me about your thoughts on the NFC East right now, because you know that I'm a Giants fan. You're an Eagles fan. The Redskins fans, they're in their own group, and we got a whole lot of Cowboy fans that just talk to the people. Talk to the people, Steph.
No, it's okay. For one, people call the NFC East the weakest league. You know what I'm saying? The weakest dog of the division. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lie. That's a lie right there. Because it is not the weakest division right there. Take it back to your boys of the New York Giants.
Okay.
You know the boys, they went to the Super Bowl with a like an 8-8 record or something like that. You know that?
Yeah, that's right.
Like that.
Right.
Michael Strahan, he said like I said, they went over there and they stomped everybody out because they never played the home game. They won all their games on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They won all of their games on the road, And with the NFC East, I mean, let me put this out there real quick.
Right.
Everybody in the NFC East has won a Super Bowl. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles came giant come lately. Yes, we did come late. But yes, everybody in the NFC East has won a Super Bowl. You can't say that about every other division.
Oh, that's a good point, Steph. Right, that's a good point.
That's a fact. You really can't say that. So, for one, let's go ahead and diminish the fact that you're talking about the NFC East is a weak league. No, it's a playing league. It's a gridiron league.
Mm-hmm.
That's where division, not the league, is a gridiron division.
That's right.
Because everybody has to play just to get there. Just to get there, they have to really, really just sit back and play. And with that being said, it's a tough division. Didn't nobody expect the I'm sorry. I was going to say Cowgirls, but I will.
You might tick off some Cowboys fans out there if you do that,
I do hate the fans. A shout out to my man Stephen A. I do hate the fans, but it does come down to the wire with the NFC East. In particular, because everybody else get blown out. You're gonna know the winner of the NFC North. You're going to know that. You're really going to know that.
Right.
You're going to know the winner of the AFC. You're going to know who's actually going to be there. Surprisingly enough, you got certain people that's coming out and they're actually playing. Did nobody see the LA Chargers coming out doing what they're doing right now? Did nobody see that? Nobody saw that. Did nobody see the Kansas City Chiefs actually, running around there with Mr. Mahomes doing what they're supposed to be doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. And back to the Cowboys. Nothing respect to, man. I talk a lot of stuff about them, man. But the boys that's what you call a quiet assassin, silent assassin, however you want to put it. But the boys are doing their job, man, and you can't knock it. And then what's going to end up happening is that Jason Garrett, the coach, he's going to actually have his job saved. By the work that the Cowboys are actually doing. I know they're supposed to stick up the joint. They've never been there about 23 years, give or take. You know what I'm saying? They haven't been to a playoff or something. Never even won a Super Bowl. In like 23 plus years or something like that. Probably boys, let's be honest with you, I have to check my facts. I'm coming off just a top of the head of what I really, really do know. And it's like them boys are on the rise. So be aware. That's a sleeper team. What you looking at? Right
okay.
now. You know what I'm saying? The NFC East is that sleeper league.
Yeah.
I mean, no for a fact. The Giants are not there. Know that for a fact. But they're gonna hate on everybody that's trying to get there. Means that they still want to play some ball because that dude by the name of Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley's a beast. He's a beast. Hey, Steve, Steph, let me do this for you, brother. Let me do this. I'm gonna pull back off the side street, and we're gonna get back on the main street. I got a viewer here that asked me what's this about, and I didn't want the title to be deceptive to anybody who's just logging in because we got up here Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, and we're talking about football. So for those of you that are watching, me and my man Steph, if you just kept coming in, we took a side street. This is the first time we're doing this. We were supposed to be live, both together in front of the camera and the microphone, but we had some difficulties, not technical difficulties with the weather and traffic. So we wanted to go ahead and get this over with, and not over with. We wanted to get this thing underway because I'm once we break this thing down, I got to watch my Knicks get beat up tonight. I'm a Knicks fan, so I got to watch them get beat up tonight. But anyway, so now we're going to get back onto the fight. Now we got a viewer. So Steph, let's. Look. So we got a guy here, Jamie Ewins, that says, yeah, Tyson should have won the fight. Jamie, I don't know if you saw my other video that I did. I did about a 11 and a half, 12-minute monologue on why I felt like one judge got the score right. Okay, so Jamie, that one judge was not the judge that gave the fight to Tyson. As you recall, that fight, and just so you know, the person that we're talking to over the phone is a very good friend of mine, longtime friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Steph B. Okay, Stephon B is what we call him. He's a friend of mine. He's also a fellow veteran, and he boxed middleweight in the U.S. Army out at Fort Irwin, California. So he and I have been looking at fights and breaking down fights for a very long time. And so we like to get on the analytical side of it. Of course, both of us are fans, like most people who watch boxing are, but we're analysts first. So we put our fan alliances to the side and break down the X's and O's. So anyway, I got Steph in here. And so Steph, Jamie says that Tyson should have won that fight. You said, tell the people real quick who you felt like won the fight based on, if you're a solo judge, and let's say you, me, and Jamie are judging this fight since Jamie's online here. Jamie's already scored the fight for Tyson Fury. Tell me who you scored it for.
Listen to me, Cap, okay? No disrespect to nobody, for one. No disrespect for nobody. And I told you at the very beginning, you got to look at, it's a combination of things you actually have to look at. And I did say the first thing that came out my mouth was you have to look at the confidence box. Then you have to look at the aggressiveness, and then you have to take your own personal eye test.
Okay, Steph. Now let's break those down. Those three things there.
That's algebra. Let me be honest now. That's algebra. Now the confidence box is if I can tell you that Tyson Fury had landed more. You know what I'm saying? More power punches. He landed more jabs. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what the confidence box numbers will sit back and show you. Now, I'm a skip the aggressiveness because neither one of them was very aggressive, in my opinion. They weren't very aggressive.
I don't know if I agree with that, but go ahead. No,
they weren't aggressive like that, man, because I seen this man want to sit back and showboat because he caught Tyson Fury. I'm going to tell you his name. Tyson said he wanted to showboat instead of try to actually fight this thing. He wanted to try to bring the fight to him. Now, I tend to sit back and tell you that Wilder won the fight. Now, I saw it. Ice Cube, he was kind of upset because he sit back and said, how a man going to get laid down 2 times and still come out to be a tie? Because he thought Deontay Wilder won the fight. Well, then again, you have to sit back and understand that even though he did lay the man down 2 times, the man did get back up.
Okay.
But the man, Wilder had more misses. He missed. This man, Fury, he knew how to duck. He knew how to feint. He knew how to step away from his punches. And why did he know how to do that? The reason why he knew how to do that because Wilder, he kind of project his punches. And I told you one time when we had talked, this man did not know how to sit down on his punches. Okay? He did not know how to sit down on his punches. If you cannot sit down on your punch, you're going to have a man going to hop up every time.
Well, Steve, Steph, let's come back to we'll come back to the technical aspects of we'll get into the technical biomechanics of the fight game in just a moment. But I want to go back to, you mentioned the eye test. So not everybody's familiar with that terminology, that phrasing. I want you to explain for anybody watching this video right now, what exactly you mean by the eye test. What is the eye test?
This is the eye test right here. This is the eye test right here. If you got two teams, two football teams battling it out. Let's go for football for this.
Okay.
You got two football teams battling it out. You know what I mean? And it ends up becoming a draw. Say a kicker missed a field goal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Say a kicker missed a field goal. Okay. And after the kicker missed the field goal, okay, the other team ends up winning the game. But you say this team right here was supposed to win, but they didn't win because this dude didn't do his job. You understand what I'm saying?
So you're talking about the Giants' first Super Bowl victory over Buffalo, where Buffalo actually had them, but Scotty Norwood missed that field goal.
That's your eye test.
Okay. Yeah, but how does that apply in boxing, though? I mean, because I understand that. How does that apply in boxing?
Okay, in boxing in specific, okay, one would sit back and tell you that Canelo Alvarez won that fight against Triple G.
Okay.
One would tell you that.
I disagreed with that, by the way.
I do disagree with that a whole lot because he did not win that fight. You know, not Canelo Alvarez. He didn't win that fight, man. He didn't.
I didn't think he won it either.
No, he didn't win. You know, but the eye test on that perspective will sit back and tell you that he won the fight. It wasn't because he had a knockdown, because the comedy boxer sit back and tell you that actually Triple G, he landed more punches, man. I mean, his punch stat was a little bit higher. You know what I mean? But it's the fact of what was sit back and said and what was actually done, what was not expected of Triple G.
Well, Steph, here's my problem with that CompuBox, that dang blasted CompuBox, CompuBox, and I'm saying dang blasted because my mother might be watching, and I'm trying to keep it clean for my mom. So that dang blasted CompuBox, here's my problem with it. You are not scoring Olympic style boxing. Here's the problem. Okay, I get it. I get the CompuBox. CompuBox to me is directly connected to what you call the eye test. I believe it's directly connected because what these guys are looking at is they're saying, oh, he touched him. His glove touched him. But my problem with that fight is that, yeah, Tyson Fury made Deontay Wilder look bad. And you talked about Deontay Wilder not sitting down on his punches. I'm going to agree with that from the standpoint of the biomechanics, which we're going to get into later. But I feel like had he sat down on those punches, like you say, he could have done more damage and really stopped him in that fight. Windmill, somebody just said Windmill Wilder there. You know what? Somebody said Windmill Wilder. Hey, that's pretty good there, MB. Listen, here's the thing. First off, let me give respect. I'm going to say this. Deontay Wilder is my favorite heavyweight right now, okay? I have not had a favorite heavyweight since Evander Holyfield retired. I haven't had a favorite heavyweight since Evander retired. Hang on a second. We got another comment here. Jamie Ewan said, I did think the first knockdown wasn't from Wilder. It was a dead punch, and the 12th round was a good shot. But I definitely say Wilder won that round because Fury got dropped, but he still got up and gave it looks like his comment went out there. Okay. Oh, so Steph, we talked about that yesterday. Now, Jamie, that is a good point you bring up. Me and Steph talked about this yesterday. This is a bit of a rewind for us because we went back and forth over this yesterday. Now, you're talking about that first knockdown wasn't really you said it wasn't from Wilder, it was a dead shot. Let me tell you something. Now, for as much as Steph said that Deontay Wilder doesn't sit down on his punches, and what he means by that is, bending slightly at the waist, a slight bend in the knee, and punching into the target versus punching through it. A guy who's sitting down on his shots, he's sitting down and he's punching into the target. Deontay Wilder launches and he tries to punch through. Am I right or wrong, Steph?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So what you got is the difference between a guy throwing the difference between a hammer. If you got a hammer, if you got a sledgehammer and you're swinging that sledgehammer, if you don't hit something, you got to expend energy to recover that hammer and maintain your balance. Okay. So that's the sledgehammer. But if you got a hammer and a chisel and you driving that hammer into that chisel, you're not wasting any energy. Everything's going into that. That is not what Deontay Wilder does. But to your point, you're saying that that was not a good shot in that 10th round. I'm going to say that it was. And here's what I mean by that. The thing that Tyson Fury does well, which is I underestimated him. I didn't know he could do this. He does what every good fighter should do. Ali called it rolling with the punches. He does a good job of rolling with the punches. So when Wilder landed that shot in the 10th that knocked him down, it was kind of a grazing blow and he was rolling away from it. But that is a credit to how much destructive power Deontay Wilder has at the end of his punches. Tyson, in my opinion, understood that going in. And let me tell you something. I really don't. I can't. It was the 9th round. Okay, 9th round. Okay, but here's the thing. Tyson, you say Tyson's the true champ. Let me tell you something. Let me cut to the chase, and then you guys can comment as you wish on this. Let me ask you a question, those of you watching. Can you honestly say in your heart of hearts, and I don't know how many boxing matches you've seen over your career, over your lifetime, and how many street fights you've seen, how many schoolyard fights you've seen. Me and my man Steph can say we've seen a lot of each, okay? There is an old schoolyard rule that sort of dictates who won that fight by who got beaten up, okay? Now, in your heart of hearts, can you say that, Tyson Fury beat up Deontay Wilder? I don't believe you can, truthfully. I don't believe you can make yourself believe that he beat him up. He did not beat him up. But conversely, Deontay Wilder didn't beat him up. Okay? So for those of you that haven't seen my other video, I'm going to recap it really quick. I want you to go back and watch it. This is how I scored the fight. I scored 4 rounds, and I'm going to break this fight down into 2 halves. I mean, there's 12 rounds. I'm going to give you 2 pieces of 6 rounds, okay? For 6 rounds, I saw Tyson Fury win 4 10-9 rounds, okay? He boxed. He won 4 10-9 rounds. How did he do that? He made Deontay Wilder miss, and he touched him. He touched him with some good boxing shots. Were they significant from the standpoint that they stunned Wilder, or what I call the coup de grace boxing is when you hit someone so hard that they're still on their feet, but they don't punch it. They don't let their hands go anymore because they're afraid to let their hands go and get hit. So they're keeping that shield up because that punch hurt so bad. They don't want it. If you watch enough boxing, you'll see when a guy's done, even though he's still on his feet. He does not want to throw punches anymore because those other punches hurt so bad, he's afraid to let his hands go. Tyson Fury did not do that. He did not do that. He won those rounds, but he was not effective in getting Deontay Wilder to say, whoa, man, maybe I don't want to get hit with those. So those are just 10-9 rounds, but that's 4 rounds. The other 2 rounds, he was on his back. So those are 10-8 rounds for Deontay Wilder. Now, 10-8 and 10-8 is 20-16. And check me on my math. 10-8 and 10-8 is 20-16. Am I right? Okay. Okay. Now, 10-9 to 10-9 to 10-9 to 10-9 is 40-36. Am I right?
That is true.
Okay. So now if you take that 20 from Wilder on the 2 knockdowns and throw it on top of that 36, you got what? 56. Okay. Now, if you take them 8 and 8 from Fury for getting put on his back, that's 16. You add that 16 to that 40, that's 56. So for half of that fight, I had that fight scored 56 even though 4 rounds were won by Tyson Fury. Okay. Now, those other 6 rounds were pretty much, to me, dull 10-10 rounds. They were not 10-9 rounds. Why? Because of something that my man Steph here said earlier. He said that the eye test. What do your eyes tell you? Deontay Wilder was the aggressor for the majority of those other 6 rounds. He was the aggressor. Now, albeit he missed badly and looked bad in doing so, he was still the aggressor. Now, Tyson Fury, he's slipping, ducking, making a miss, all of this rolling, slapping, parrying, but he did not counterpunch. So I cannot.
That fight was Tyson Fury, man.
Say, but here's my point though, Steve. What my point is, did he counterpunch the entire fight? Did he counterpunch a la Floyd Mayweather?
No.
That's my point.
No.
That's my point.
No, he didn't. That's a good one right there.
That's my point.
That's a real good one. That's a real good one. When the eye test shows you that a man, just because a man aggressive, you got to make it count. You have to make it count. Just because you're aggressive in the fight, that means you can take a whole lot of punches more than you give it, for one.
Right. Hey, let me go to the comments real quick, Steve, and I'll come back to you. MB said Wilder beat up Fury, but Fury won most rounds, so draw was a fair result. What do you thought? And Jamie says we'll see what the rematch says. I think Jamie's he's telling you he's a pretty big fan of Tyson Fury, and that's okay. That's okay. We're here to give you the analytical side of it, and then what you want to do with the information is what you do. A fan is going to be a fan. I'm not going to stop liking Deontay Wilder, aka the Bronze Bomber, but he does have some things he needs to work on in his game. But Steve, back to MB's comment, he said Wilder beat up Fury, but Fury won most of the rounds, so a draw was a fair result. I agree with him on the draw, but do you feel like Wilder beat up Fury?
No, he didn't.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
He did not beat him up, man, because, okay, for one, take for instance, when he knocked him down, Wilder was supposed to capitalize on that regardless.
Yep.
He was supposed to capitalize on that.
This is true.
Means if you knock the man down, this man is not ready, man. I've been knocked down before. Trust me on that now. I've been knocked down a couple times, and people capitalized on me. By being knocked down, it was on me. I had to hug, I had to hang on, I had to survive. I lost those rounds. I lost those rounds, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to hang on. This dude was gonna put me on my back.
Right.
I had to sit back. I had to hold on. Had to regroup. You got to get that doggone equilibrium back together, man.
That's correct.
Get it back together.
That is correct.
If you sit back and allow a man to get his equilibrium back together, that means that you didn't do your job. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
Wilder did not do his job. He didn't do his job when he laid him down the first time. When he laid him down the second time, he didn't do his job. Why did he do his job? I'm going to go back to it again. Why did he do his job? Your man, like I said, called him Hurricane Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Why do you call him Hurricane Wilder? Because he did sit down on his punches. He wasn't composed.
He called him Windmill Wilder because he throws them punches like windmills. He throws that overhand. You know what? Steph, I'm gonna make a point on that. So because again, I feel like if to me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say neither fighter, Russian troll bot Joshua, is talking about Wilder on every channel now. You know what, Mr. Russian troll bot? You know what, Joshua is Joshua's talking a lot more now because I think he feels like Deontay Wilder got exposed.
He saw the fight.
He saw it.
Joshua saw the fight. That's what he did. Because Joshua would have been took the fight against any of them, but he didn't. You know why he didn't take it? Because the man was nervous.
Okay.
I'm not a Joshua dude. And let me go ahead and put that out there for one.
Now let me say this. I think Jamie's from the UK there. So Jamie, tell us if you can put your fan loyalty aside just long enough to have an analytical conversation and be real with it. Because Steph is breaking something down. He's about to tell you why he's not a Joshua dude. And to that point, I respect what he does in the ring. I respect his body of work, but I'm gonna tell you why I agree with Steph. Go ahead, Steph. Tell us why you're not a Joshua dude.
Because you don't run from people. It's just that simple. A man want to fight, you gonna fight. Bottom line.
That's church right there. That's church.
You're gonna fight.
That's church.
You're not gonna sit back and worry about no doggone numbers. I mean, you're a professional boxer. You're not gonna worry about no doggone paper. You ain't gonna worry about no paper. The job is when you're in that kind of profession. You know what I'm saying? You want to be number one. You're not gonna worry about. If you love what you do, the money gonna always come.
Hello. Preach. Preach, bro.
We got to get the numbers right. We got to get this right here. No, you're not gonna do that. Hagler and Leonard Hearns, I'll go back to you back in the day. They never worry about no money. These boys wanted to fight. These men.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
These what you call straight dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Oh, Duran was like, look, however much money you want to put out on the floor, put it out there. I want to knock Ray Leonard's head off. I don't like him. I want to fight him.
The bottom line is that if a man want to be number one, he's going to be not worried about no doggone money, brother. He want to put some hands on somebody because you in his way. Like if you eat my way, I'm a chef. Let me go ahead and put that out there. I'm a chef.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Lord knows for a fact, I think I'm the baddest man in Rock Hill. You know
Okay. And let me pause you for a second there. For those of you watching, let me give you a really what I was tempted to say we're going to pause for station identification, but I'm kind of telling my age if I do that. Nobody says that anymore. No. Let me give you a little bit of background here because I told you in the beginning, both of us we're sports fans, we're amateur sports analysts because we both come from boxing backgrounds. Steve, more from a competitive standpoint. I didn't get into the competition side of it because my pop, even though he trained me and trained all my brothers, and we all got trained by fighters, he said, son, your grades are too good. I don't want you in the ring. I want you to come up through the school system, and I don't want you boxing. And that's a long story. But anyway, it hurt me for years that I didn't get to fight. When the schoolyard fights I had showed that I was okay, but with my hands. But anyway, that aside, let me tell you something. We are artists on top of that. This man right here, he's a culinary artist. He's a culinary artist, so he's able to look at things from both a technical and an artistic standpoint. I'm a literary artist. If you guys have been looking at my channel at all, I'm a writer. It's what I do for a living. I was in technology for 16 years. I was in healthcare for 4 years. I'm a writer. Both of us were medics in the U.S. Army, and so we got that technical background, whatever. But this man is an artist. He's a culinary artist, and what he just said that is key. He says there's a number of chefs out there, but I believe I'm the best one. Get back to your point there, Steph. I didn't mean to interrupt you, brother. I just had to say that.
And with that being said, just to allude to your point, man, you got to prove it, man. You got to prove it.
Right.
You got to prove it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to show and prove, man. Step up to the plate.
Right.
Step up to the plate, man. Don't sit back and talk, oh, the numbers are not right. Oh, we got to look to this person. We got to go through this vision. And nah, man, you want to fight this dude, man, you're going to fight that dude. You're going to fight that dude. And as Joshua is ducking people, he's hanging on. He's hanging on. How you going to let this how you going to let a dude named Klitschko drop you? And Klitschko was well, beyond his
Yeah. Steph, I hate to cut across you, but I know you're not online right now to see these comments. MB just dropped a comment. First off, Jamie said, I agree with you. AJ is scared of both of them. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jamie is probably from the UK. So he's right there at the epicenter of what's going on with British boxing. And he can probably give you an even more close to the ground zero view of it. So he said, and so MB came back and said he doesn't think that AJ is scared. He feels it's more to do with his management, Eddie Hearn, being greedy and overrating Anthony Joshua, thinking that he's better than he is. And that's coming from a fight fan. Steph, let me hear it from you, bro. Let me hear it from you. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that that perhaps AJ is overrated? Do you agree with that?
Overrated? Yes. Yes.
Tell me why.
Yes.
With every what, there's a connected why. Tell me why.
Okay, it's like this right here. When Mike Tyson was on his game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna do it like this with you.
Come at me with Iron Mike.
When Iron Mike was on his game,
mm-hmm.
you know that Iron Mike had paid money to duck Lennox Lewis when Lennox Lewis first came out.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Eventually they had to fight.
Right.
Eventually they had to fight. And when they fought, okay, Lennox Lewis ended up being the toppler. You know what I'm saying? He was the toppler over Tyson.
So I got some feelings about that, but go ahead.
He did. He ducked Tyson. Tyson ducked him. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Tyson did duck him.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he did duck him. He paid not to fight that dude. But Lennox Lewis was hungry. He was ready at that time because Lennox Lewis was dropping people. He was wanting to fight. He He was really wanting to fight.
Mm.
Then it came, as time progressed, and then, okay, at the last moment, that's when Mike Tyson wanted to take the doggone Lennox Lewis fight after he done caught a couple of L's, and he wanted to try to prove a point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When Mike Tyson was Iron Mike Tyson, he was that doggone dude. He was supposed to jump on Lennox Lewis at that point. But people don't know that. He actually ducked Lennox Lewis. He did.
You know,
but he was Iron Mike. So
well, but here's the question I have. At what point did he duck Lennox Lewis? Because, Steph, in my opinion, you know, before Lewis got with Emmanuel Stewart, Lewis, to me, was, in spite of his natural physical abilities, he was pretty beatable because he didn't know how to use what he had. I feel like Emmanuel Stewart put him together, and he basically, you got the difference between Doug Collins coaching Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson coaching Michael Jordan. It's the same Michael Jordan. He had the same skills. Neither Phil Jackson didn't give him those skills. Doug Collins didn't give him those skills. Dean Smith didn't give him those skills. His high school coach didn't give him those skills. Okay? But sometimes a fighter, an athlete, whomever, gets with the right coach, and he brings out the best in him. Okay? So
that's where
well, so that goes back to my question. At what point did Iron Mike duck Lennox Lewis? Because I can't imagine him ducking Lennox Lewis prior to him getting with Emmanuel Stewart. I can't imagine it.
He did. He did. And for one thing about it, two things for sure. Okay, when you got a Doug Collins versus a Phil Jackson, that's a team effort right there. So that means Michael Jordan has to sit back and try to incorporate himself with playing for the actual team. It ain't no team in boxing, man. That's one dude in the ring against another dude.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, hey, shout out to Jamie real quick, man. Jamie, thanks for hanging there with us. Jamie said it's 12:55 a.m. in the morning over there in the UK, and he's getting ready to go to bed, but he said he'll catch the rest of the stream tomorrow. So, you know, we're going to wrap this thing up here pretty soon here. Our plan was to keep it under 1 hour. So we do appreciate your chiming in there, Jamie. And, you know, if you're seeing me say this the next morning when you wake up again, on behalf of my partner here, Steph, we appreciate you joining our stream here. So, no but back to your point, Steph. I cannot imagine. MB said Lennox Lewis bored his opponents into losing. He basically lulled them to sleep. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't like Lennox Lewis until he got with Manny Stewart. Manny showed him how to use that jab and use one of the most basic but effective big man combinations out there, which is the 1-2. And the difference between Lewis and appreciate it, Jamie. The difference between Lewis and Deontay, for example, since we're contrasting big men, Lewis sits down on those shots. He sits down and throws that left jab. He sits down and throws that straight right. He sits down when he throws the uppercut. He very seldom is off balance. D-Dub has got to work on his balance. He's got to work on his balance. He's got to work on his balance. But I just he's got to work on his balance.
That's the bottom line. You know, Deontay Wilder is a good champion. He is a good champion. He is. But he did take the. Okay, put it like this right here. Why didn't Tyson Fury fight Luis Ortiz?
You know, that's a great question. I don't think he can beat Ortiz, to be honest. I don't even think that would be a fight. Or Ortiz. Listen, were Deontay Wilder not gifted with extremely explosive dynamite in both gloves, Ortiz would have beaten him. He even said that was the toughest fight he ever had, was against Ortiz. And you know those Cubans, they're scientific with it. I mean, you look at Teofilo Stevenson back in the day, he's probably the most famous Cuban boxer of all time. Teofilo Stevenson was beast mode, but we only saw him in the Olympics. So you're contrasting guys. But that being said, I want to touch on AJ, and I'm gonna go back around to what I was saying about the why I still feel like it was a draw after watching this fight now 3 times. I've seen it 3 times now, and I still feel like it was a draw. But back to the Anthony Joshua thing. The thing is, you look at Tyson Fury, you look at Anthony Joshua, you look at Deontay Wilder. Those are the 3 biggest names in the heavyweight division right now. To me, Deontay Wilder still he's unbeaten, even though he's got a draw on his record now. He's unbeaten, and like I said, you don't knock out 38 guys by accident. So I still feel like he has the most upside of all of those guys out there in the division. I think that Deontay Wilder has the most upside. I think what I mean by upside is he, in spite of the flaws in his game and in spite of the fact that he's knocking guys out, he's still young enough and impressionable enough to, under the right management and the right training, if he can get somebody to get inside his head and get him to listen to what they're trying to teach him, I still feel like he's got the most upside, and I feel like he can still get better. I think he can still get better.
He does have the upside. He really does have the. You know why he has the upside of everything, man? Because the guy actually want to fight.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That's what you have to put a plus on that. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put a plus. He actually want to fight.
Right.
You put somebody in front of him. He really want to fight you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's not. Deontay don't really care about that paperwork, to be honest with you, man. And he already said that.
No.
And the last time I sit back and check, he did try to give Anthony Joshua the master of the deal. He just wanted to beat him up,
right?
So he can go ahead and be number one,
right?
Because if you beat the man up, he's going to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he actually wanted to do. You know, all this complication and what Josh was saying. Let's do it at Wembley.
Let's
do it at Wembley.
Yeah.
You know, and Deontay was talking about, I don't care where we do it at. Let's just get it in. You know,
mm-hmm.
I want to be number one. That's what he said back and said. Regardless of his style of fight, regardless of how he sit back and handle himself, that's some stuff that he needs to work on. And that's where the coach come into progress.
Yeah.
That's where his trainer comes into progress about. You know what I'm saying? That's where his management should come into progress about. Okay, is this man trying to get his proper training, trying to do his actual job? You know what I'm saying? That's where they should come in. But don't sit back and tell this man, don't fight him because the money ain't right. You crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the truth is, the problem for AJ, for me, is he doesn't have the number of fights under his belt. Does that mean he's not a good boxer, or does that mean he's not a good fighter? Not at all. But the problem, in my lifetime, certainly, when I've watched fighters and have their careers managed, you don't want to put a young fighter out there that is unbeaten, 20-0, 21-0, unless he's special, like Mike Tyson was. You don't want to put a guy like that in there with a killer, because we talked about this the other day. Anybody can look good in a 4-foot pool, okay? But what happens when you get out there in that deep water and you can't keep your head above the water and your feet touch? What happens when you can't feel your feet touch that bottom anymore? What happens? When your feet can't touch that bottom no more, or when your feet touching the bottom, but that head ain't up out of the water no more, what happens now? Do you panic or do you swim? Okay, so Deontay Wilder has been in that deep end of the pool several times, and he's shown you his mettle. The guy's got a lot of mettle. He has a lot of mettle. He's got a lot of moxie. He's got a lot of confidence in himself because he's been gifted with these thunderous hands. But there may be some thoughts out there. I've read some comments. There may be some thoughts out there that perhaps he has made or is making or could be making a mistake that a lot of knockout artists do, and that is they fall in love with their power and fail to put their punches together. I like combinations. Combinations allow you to mask that booming shot. If you're not throwing combinations, you're not covering. It's like a pick and roll. You need to set that up, okay? If you're not just gonna drive into the paint if you John Stockton and you got them big trees down there. You gotta disguise the fact that, hey, I want to get to that rack. So you disguise that by bringing Karl Malone up to pick, set that screen for you. Now, whoa, is he gonna shoot a 3-pointer? Is he gonna blow past me and shoot a layup? Or is Malone gonna roll to the basket and he's gonna dump it off to him for a dunk? That is what you do. The same thing with combinations. You don't know where that big shot is coming from. All you know is you're getting hit. DW's got to do that.
With that being said, why should you not look at that as being a draw?
Thank you. I'm with you. You preach it to the choir, bro. It was a draw all day to me. Like I said, I gave it to you 56-56 across 6 rounds, and then the other 6 rounds to me were 60-60.
This is my eye test right here. This is my eye test.
Yeah.
Every time Tyson Fury called a good shot, he want to sit back and and both about, I hit you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ooh, I caught you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he stood back off of it.
Right.
He stood back off of it. Ooh, I caught you. You see that couple, I can't call it around, but he gonna stick his tongue out, gonna sit back and smile. Yeah, I caught you that time.
I saw that. I saw that.
He gonna do that right there. Why are you gonna sit back and do that right there, man, when you're supposed to go to work? You gotta go to work. You ain't don't say, ooh, I caught you. Well, you caught him. Okay, cool. Fine. But your job is not done, brother. Your job is not done.
Steve, I'm gonna tell you.
It's not.
I'm gonna tell you something. That man was scared of getting hit with one of the bombs, and that's why he was satisfied just catching him with a scoring shot, albeit an insignificant scoring shot. When I say insignificant, I mean that shot didn't hurt him. Okay, so he caught him with some shots that were insignificant. Now, when Deontay looked like he was going to be maybe, he started getting a little bit wobbly on his feet, not wobbly from the standpoint of his knees were buckling, but I'm talking about his balance was a little bit worse toward the end of the fight. That man was tired from constantly having to catch himself and readjust from swinging haymakers and missing. So he wasted a lot of energy in that fight, swinging for the fences and missing. Perhaps he needs to go get with a baseball coach. Maybe he needs to come up to New York and work out with the Yankees and get one of them batting coaches. Because the first thing that batting coach is going to, well, here's my point. The first thing that batting coach is going to tell you, when you swing, when you try to hit a home run, you either fly out or you strike out. But when you go up there for contact, if you hit that thing in the sweet part of that bat and you got power, that ball leaving. It's going to travel on 460 yards. It's going to go over that green monster. If you got power, then all you need to do is make contact. Serena Williams. I'm a cross-reference some other sports. Serena Williams ain't got to try to hit no winner. She's so heavy-handed when she's contacting that ball that every one of her shots is big. If she torques it up a little bit more, you almost can't even see the ball. So my point is, come on with it. Come on. My point is, when you have power, all you need to do is make contact. That's all you need to do. That's it. Now, if you ain't got power, then you need to score.
That's true. And you need to continuously score, especially in the game of boxing.
Yes, sir.
You got to keep going.
Yes, sir.
Serena just hit one guy. She never hit one. She'll give it to you again.
Yes, sir.
And she'll give it to you again.
Yes, sir.
That's what Serena does.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mike Tyson, if Mike Tyson saw a kick in your arm, he's gonna give it to you again.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna give you again. I'm gonna try you for a minute. Let me do it like this right here.
Okay.
Baby Ruth let people know he ain't have no problem with striking out.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's a good point.
Every time he's gonna go in the bat, he's gonna take you out the palm. And that was Babe Ruth's job.
Yeah.
I should tell you, I don't care about striking out. I strike out, brother. But when I catch you, I'm gonna catch you.
That's right.
When I catch you, I'm gonna try to catch you again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did Tyson do that? Did Tyson Fury do that?
No.
No. Tyson sit back and smile and sit back on. I got that shot in.
Yeah.
And to look for it. No, brother, you have to do that right there. Sit down on your stuff, decompose, and go get it again.
You know, in tennis, they call that admiring your shot. You hit a good shot. Instead of you recovering and getting back to the middle and getting ready for the next ball, you end up out of position because you're admiring your shot. That man on the other side of the net, he trying to win that point. You hit a good shot and you watching it. No, you know what the pros do? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, if you were to sit back and look at what was going on, okay. Wilder's fault was that he didn't know how to capitalize on none of what he did. He did not know how to capitalize.
No, he didn't.
I'm talking about Wilder.
He didn't.
He didn't know how to capitalize. You got to keep moving, bro.
Yeah.
Keep moving. He was actually shook the times that he thought he had floored Tyson Fury. He thought he had, oh yeah, I did that job. And then when the dude sit back and got up, you can sit back and look in this dude's eyes. This man like, that's supposed to do it. Okay, I got something else to do. I'm gonna work on it again. And he tried to work on it again. And did you see the number of less jabs that was actually thrown? And you was to look at it, man. The jabs were like 39 to 31. I'm telling you, I'm looking off the hip, but I think I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think I'm right. Like 39 to 31 jabs. Something like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what?
He did not sit back there. He didn't do it, man. He he didn't do it.
No, he didn't.
That's why you gonna sit. He did. That's why you have to sit back and call this or draw. When dudes sit back and say, you know what I'm saying, you need to be a second one. It has to be a second one.
Yeah.
These people, they're comfortable now.
Yeah.
They're comfortable now. You know, all thing somebody needs to know how to do is capitalize. It's capitalize.
Yeah.
And that means that.
Go ahead. Yeah. And I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your point.
He need to come to him. The difference between the both of the fighters is this right here. Okay. Tyson Fury wanted to be a boxer to knock a man out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Deontay Wilder wanted to be a slugger. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To knock a man out.
Right.
And he was a slugger. You don't sit back and swing. I mean, I understand your angles and shots. I mean, Roy Jones is the best of that of all time.
Right.
One can't deny that.
Right.
Okay. But the difference was that Roy Jones actually sat down on it until he actually had to get set down.
He sure did.
You know?
He sure did. He was one of the greatest at it.
You can't divide Father time. You can't do that, you know.
Right.
But had he stayed in his realm and not fluctuate, played with his weight.
He played with his weight way too much, especially when he went up to heavyweight. When he went up to heavyweight and then dropped weight, at that age, that ain't a game to play at that age. And I think that was the undoing of Roy Jones Jr. But Steph, I'm gonna make a couple of final points here, and if you got any final thoughts, so we can wrap this up because we're coming up on an hour.
Okay.
My point, I want to say the difference between what Deontay Wilder is and what he can be. I'm gonna say one word: it's professionalism. Professionalism. Here's what I mean by professionalism for the folks watching. I think you know where I'm going, but for the folks watching, here's what I mean by professionalism. Professionalism, I'm gonna give you an example, prime example. Like him or not, Floyd Mayweather, when he gets in that ring, he's got a suit in his briefcase and he's going to work. And he looks across that ring and he never he respects the fact that other man got the gloves on and he's coming in there to do the same thing he's doing, and that's to win a fight. And so because he respects that and respects what's going on and respects the sport of boxing and respects his time in that squared circle for however many rounds that fight's going to go, he's a professional. What does a professional do? A professional doesn't wild out. He keeps his calm. He stays cool. He stays on task. He stays on the job. Deontay Wilder, to me right now, and he's my favorite heavy. I say this because if he sees this, I want him to know I got love for the dude. I love how humble he is. I love how confident he is. The thing is, he's got to work on his professionalism, and that is treat every fighter in there that you face with the respect he deserves from the standpoint of he is a professional fighter going in there, getting a paycheck, doing the same thing that you're doing. So what you have to do by that, when I say professionalism, all I'm simply saying is when you get that guy hurt, don't go in there and let your emotion get the best of you. If you get emotional, and I spent 20 years in corporate America before I left to become a full-time artist and full-time writer and author right now. I spent 20 years in corporate America. I spent 8 years in the military, 3 active and 5 reserve. You were in the military as well. The thing is, whichever in both of those venues, and 4 of my professional corporate years were in the emergency room. You must maintain your thoughts and your wits at all times. You cannot allow your emotions to get the best of you. Deontay Wilder got in there and allowed his emotion to get the best of him. And what it did was it took his professionalism down a notch. If you keep your emotions intact and say, you know what, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I ain't worried about him. Nope. I'm gonna get him. Okay. He's doing this. Let me make this adjustment. That's professionalism. Lack of professionalism is, man, I came here to knock this guy out and I'm gonna get people a knockout. That's not professional. That's not professionalism. That's not professionalism. So that's all I gotta say. Those are my final thoughts, Steve. One word for Deontay Wilder to move from where he is now. Like I said, I still think as good as he is, and even with his record where it is now, he's still got a ton of upside. What he's got to work on is the professionalism. Steve, what are any final thoughts?
Final thought for me, man. Do it again. Do it again. That's my final thought. Let's do it again, because I think we'll get an honest thought about the whole thing. It's not gonna happen the way it did the first time. It's gonna be something different that we're gonna see. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Do it again, because in my eyes, it wasn't convincing enough for me to give it to nobody. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Anthony Joshua is the man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he does everything that you sit back and say, I say he does. I say all this, but yet he still is he's still recognized as the man. Do it again. And I want to thank you, brother, for sitting back up here, calling me. You want to talk about it. Next time, I hope I can be on site and we can sit back and talk about it together, face to face.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, next time I would not be alone. If anybody tuning in right now, please understand Matthew Talford. I call him MDT. That's my nickname to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my nickname to my man. But please subscribe to my man because he got some good stuff. He really do have some good stuff. If you don't like it, tell your friends. Tell somebody because my man got some good stuff. And please subscribe to it. And I do thank you, brother, for talking to me.
Steph, I appreciate that. And on that note, folks, again, this is the sports analyses. That's a hobby of mine. Professionally, I'm a full-time author. I write books. I got 2 books out there right now. One is a memoir that you need to read. It touches on a subject matter that touches everybody in the world, everybody in the civilized world. That is, and that is it's cancer. I call it the C word, but I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a champion's perspective when you read that book, and it's going to tell you the story of a guy who had the odds against him. He fought off the ropes and came back to win. Okay. And he gives you multiple examples of how he did that. So that should you ever find yourself in a grave situation, you understand that having confidence and a solid plan and believing in it can get you through the worst. So I encourage you to read that book. The title of the book is From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story. Okay. Check that out. Check that out. A survivor story. From Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story. Check it out. And listen, Steph, I appreciate it. We're going to keep doing the sports thing. My primary thing is encouraging and trying to motivate people. I like to entertain, but also like to encourage and inspire and try to help you be the best you as I'm trying to be the best me. So that's about all I got to say. Steph, I appreciate your being on the air tonight. You and me go way back, but those stories we can't talk about on the air. So we'll keep that. We'll keep that for when we're not on the air. So for all of you that tuned in from the U.S. and the U.K. and other places in the world, wherever you may be, peace and have a good night and have a great week. If you're celebrating any holiday, whatever, happy holidays to you and yours. And I wish you the best. Tyson, Montana, if Fury and Wilder, oh, come on, man. AJ, he said if Fury and Wilder had sex, AJ would be born. Whoa, man, that's wow. And I'm trying to sign off, man. And he hit me with that on the way out. That's pretty good, Mr. Montana. So listen, folks.
Let's hold him for later when we get together.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna chew on that one later. Hey, you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us. And peace. I love you guys. Listen, tell somebody you love them and mean it. And have a great night. Peace.